I'm the Lori Fastidio. I'm an 8th grader at IBL.
Welcome.
Next, we have Michelle.
Keep on with the names, we'll keep it moving.
Rosalie.
She's presenting this.
Hi, my name is Michelle Tamar. I'm an 8th grader at Valinor, and a change I want to make this year is to get more fundraising for better school supplies.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Rosie. I'm an 8th grader at IBL, and one goal that I want to make is create a safer environment and more comfortable environment in students.
Next is Alex.
William.
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm an 8th grader at Valinor, and the change I want to make is changing the academic school curriculum.
Thank you. So Ellie.
Next.
Hi, I'm Alan here. I'm a 7th grader at IBL, and one change that I hope to make is to when someone reports bullying, I have people to get services.
Next is Augustus.
My name is Augustus. I'm 6th grade. I go to English B. Lacey. One change I also make is to include the quality of learning.
Thank you.
Next is A.
And when came to that the link is probably best.
Next is Jordan.
My name's Jordan. I don't know Ortega. I would like it to be changed like more shade at the schools. That our school is like just shade.
Next is Karina.
Sorry,
And so we welcome our 2024-2025 Superintendent Student Advisory Committee. And we have representation from all schools across our district, ranging from grade 5 to grade 8. Please give them a big round. Each of them will receive their certificate of membership, and it reads to this certificate of membership is to certify that their name have been selected as a member of the 2024-2025 Superintendent Student Advisory Council. The purpose of the council is to improve communication with students and gain input from students on district initiatives, programs, and systems. The district welcomes all of you, and you as well, all of you to the council, and thank you for your commitment to serving as a student leader in the Pacifica School District. Thank you and congratulations to all of you, and we look forward to a productive school year together. Can everyone do that?
The over here tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you do. Very. It's a good thing you organized. Ready? Ready? Everybody can feel it. Okay, smile. Okay, thank you so much.
Did you get your marriage certificate? Because they were one of the something you wanted to
Barbara.
And thank you. And once again, we just want to welcome this year's student members of the 24-25 Superintendent Student Advisory Committee. And then also again, acknowledge our two board representatives who will be present at each of our board meetings, and they will be representing and presenting, including this evening, the voice of students. So once again, we're excited and we look forward to a productive and meaningful year of planning together. Thank you.
I just want to say, I can't wait to hear and see everything that they do this year. It's exciting. Okay, we're on 10, communications, LSEA.
Daunting. Thank you to everyone who attended our LSEA social. It is nice when management, labor partners, and board member can be together in a casual setting and enjoy each other's company. LSEA members have participated in interest-based bargaining trainings, report card meetings, the superintendent budget collaboration meeting, parcel tax meetings, and a collaboration with school site principals and cabinet. There are many moving parts, and we are eager to see what's to come from all the talking. Through these meetings, we've learned management has a desire for our district to improve test scores and shared the plans for that to happen, including instructional shifts, walkthrough tools, and other education ease. We agree we have good test scores, but they could be better. Perhaps simply providing teachers with adequate, updated curriculum will help. Thankfully, that seems to be coming. We also think providing teachers the time to review lessons, assessments, and data would help too. Paying us competitively would also retain teachers to hone their skills and understand our curriculums. Time and money. Management is also expressing the desire that one of the solutions to our budgetary crisis is staffing to enrollment. Big picture, that obviously makes sense, but on the actual implementation level, it does not. Especially when staffing to enrollment will create unsupported and inequitable combo classes. We already see it now, happening now with the recent reduction of paraprofessional support for combo classes. Expecting a teacher to teach two entirely different curriculums and offer no assistance will most certainly not help test scores. Placing the burden on grade-alike colleagues to take in more students to teach core content will not help test scores either. We are eager to get to work negotiating on October 21st. At the end of our training last week, LSEA expressed that we are hopeful that our sessions this year can be efficient and the caucus times can be tightened up. It is important that everyone involved with the negotiations process, the district team, our team, the superintendent, and board members understand all that is on the line and we get things done. We have many small items to get through, and we have some large challenges like compensation. Let's honor the interest-based bargaining process, give the district team the authority to get to work, and let's get this done efficiently. LSEA continues to be thankful for the efforts of Bridget Hart, Michelle Gray, and Tara Knotts for leading all the efforts on the parcel tax measure EE. We had a very thorough and engaging presentation from them at our last union meeting, reviewing the importance that this passes. If any community members would like more information, feel free to reach out to me at my union email address at lseapresident@gmail.com, and I will connect you with the correct people. Thank you very much.
CSEA. Go on.
Come on.
I'm Charlene Hilo. I am the co-president of our CSA union, along with
Tiffany Hannah.
my sidekick. Good evening, board members, superintendent, and PSD community. It was such a joy to see everyone come together at the Fog Fest parade. The sense of unity and community spirit was truly uplifting. And it's moments like these that remind us of how special our Pacifica community is. I'd also like to highlight the great time we all had at the recent LSCA CSCA get-together. Events like these strengthen the bond between all members of our Pacifica School District community, and I hope we continue to build on this collaborative spirit. This unity reminds me of our community's critical role in supporting our schools. There's a parcel tax coming up on November 5th, Measure EE, Excellent Education. If we want to continue to support our schools in keeping them vibrant, safe, and healthy for our students and staff, we need to support any and all measures that would increase funding for our district. And as we enjoy this beautiful weather over the past week, kind of back to normal now, it's a reminder of how lucky we are to live and work in such an amazing environment. Together, we can continue to support our students and schools in meaningful ways. We're going to end it with our above and beyond, and Tiffany didn't know that about. I'm making her say this part.
Hi. All right. Our above and beyond recipients for October 2024 are Elizabeth DiMartini, paraprofessional at Sunset Ridge and Valimar, and Danita King, paraprofessional at Cabrillo. Elizabeth and Danita are hardworking, valued PSD employees. Elizabeth supports students at Sunset Ridge and Valimar that receive virtual speech services. Danita serves as a one-to-one paraprofessional, meeting the needs of the student, which enables the student to be involved in and progress in the general curriculum. Me too? Okay. CSEA Chapter 128 is proud of all of our above and beyond recipients. Our classified employees are dedicated, hardworking people who care about our students, our schools, our district, and our community. CSEA will continue to shine a spotlight on Pacifica School District's wonderful classified employees. We believe that the hard work, the dedication, and the contribution of our valued classified employees should be celebrated and rewarded. Union proud.
Union strong.
Thank you.
Right.
All right. Student board representatives.
And Mateo, can you please introduce yourself? Mateo, can you please introduce yourself? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mateo Verlanik, and I'm an 8th grade student at Ingrid B. Lacey Middle School. And I am one of the representatives of the Superintendent's Committee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Obert. I'm an 8th grader at Valimar. I'm so excited to be on the Superintendent Advisory Council and look forward to improving our schools. An important topic that the council has brought to awareness is our PE equipment. Most of our PE equipment is damaged or old, such as the paint on the backboards of some of the basketball hoops are chipped and need to be repainted. And some of the balls are flat, teared, and even bitten. The wire on most of the tennis rackets are detached, and in general, we do not have enough PE equipment. And without reliable PE equipment, we won't be able to participate safely and efficiently during PE, which isn't beneficial. We propose to get more equipment and replace the damaged or old ones. And if we don't have the money for it, we could do a fundraiser to raise more money for more equipment. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julia. I am an 8th grader at Valimar, and like Chloe, I'm excited to be a representative to represent the district and bring the student opinion to the board. So one highlight from the school year so far were the assemblies. So in 8th grade, we had 2 high school assemblies, which really helped us understand which high school has to each high school has to offer and which one is best for us. We also had an anti-bullying laser show for the whole school, which was really cool. And everyone at Valimar is getting along and settling into the school year well. One issue that all the schools have been complaining about so far is how litter is scattered everywhere in the unclean campuses. We may aim to address this issue by educating students about the issue of litter and how it affects themselves and ocean lives. Additionally, we might create an incentive program so students will participate in picking up trash after school or having each classroom have cleanup duty every month. We will continue to work on this issue as well as any others that students may bring up throughout the school year.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, people wishing to address the board? I don't think we have any tickets.
I would share this where I saw.
Oh, okay.
Oh, outside.
Who?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm looking at pictures. Okay.
Take a turn.
I agree.
I started looking at it in my eye. I started looking at the screen.
Oh, but shit. Thank you.
Okay. Let me see if I can. David?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
David Field.
Yeah, I scribbled my name on there, sorry.
You have 3 minutes.
All right. Hi, good evening. My name is David Leal, and I wanted to discuss the issue of the Ortega Fields tonight. I'm a coach as well as a father of a student in the district. And recently I've heard the current challenges with local leagues working with the school district related to the Ortega Fields. Frankly, it's quite frustrating as a coach, a father in the city of Pacifica. AYSO and Pacifica Little League offer low-cost sports to the community. And the fields at Ortega are great assets, especially with our weather, that these leagues plan to use. But this past weekend, the upper lot at Ortega was closed for unknown reasons, which caused coaches like myself to schlep my gear the long way around to the fields, as well as the elderly and families with young children to take a longer way around instead of either parking in the upper lot or getting closer access to the actual fields, the only gate that's open. That's just an example, but due to this and other challenges that I'm hearing through other leagues working with the school district, it's not winning fans for the current ballot measure. I'll just say that. I do understand the need to protect the fields. And unfortunately, in this day and age, I understand they need to be locked up. Stuff happens. And I understand protecting that asset, but there's better ways to go about it. I'm asking for fair and closer collaboration with local leagues in town from the school district for responsible use of these fields. They're great assets again, but we need responsible use of it, and we need fair and open dialogue with the school district, with the local leagues. So I'm requesting the formation of a subcommittee with 2 board members, superintendent, and the presidents of the local leagues to come to a memorandum of understanding of how we're going to work together going forward. This is a great asset for the community. The community wants to use these fields, but right now, the negotiations between local leagues, from what I'm hearing, it's as if no one wants those fields to be used outside of the Ortega school. So Thank you for listening to me tonight. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Augustus, you ready? Augustus.
You like pull up my presentation?
Oh, but can we fix the light?
He has a presentation.
Oh, yes.
No,
presentation.
No, okay, we can't look at the speaker because the lights interrupts, that was just, it's just a matter of adjusting that.
Where's his presentation?
But he has an online presentation. He emailed a presentation.
To whom?
Barbara.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody told me that, Jean said I wasn't supposed to be writing that.
Something like.
Okay, so we'll get it.
Yes.
We'll get it.
Nice.
Oh.
As far as I.
So can we change the light and then we'll get your presentation, Gussie, so that's fine. So we'll do that so we can keep it going, but we want to respect also your
I
communication.
think you just have to
We
be
will
right
get it.
up to it for it to work.
No, it's the light.
The light.
It's the
Oh.
light.
Thank you.
Got a dot right in the middle.
Yeah, it was right, all right.
We couldn't look at the percentage.
All right, so Augustus, somebody will talk to you about your presentation and scheduling it.
Yes, yes. we scheduled. Barbara did that. I would know.
Correspondence. Oh, yes, I did receive one correspondence from a parent, and I would just like to convey that the board intends to be transparent when it can. We also need to do a little better getting communications out to everybody. So if the principals can hear me right now, if you have any parents who aren't signed up with the email of your school, listen to them so we can get everybody on the same page. Also, we have budget concerns in the district, and we like to let everybody know about those concerns. It's difficult having everybody on a committee though. So hopefully we can find a way to communicate and push that out to the different newsletters that are out there by the PTOs when we have that information available. And so I hope I conveyed that okay. Anybody else have any correspondence? No. Board Superintendent Communications.
Well, let's see, I had a 2-on-1 with Dr. Williams and trustee Villalobos, which was great. Also participated in the Fog Fest parade, which was also, I agree, also a lot of fun, and it was great to see everybody out there. Just been busy with correspondence or just school stuff, but I wanted to mention one thing, the crossing guard at Cabrillo. I saw some of the teachers here that do that. Thank you for the teachers that are attempting to do this with the kids. And I know that's like a ongoing thing in this district, but I appreciate it. And they really seem to have some, pride in their job there. So I appreciate that extra, giving them a little extra responsibility. And that is it for me today. I don't have anything.
I attended the LSCA CSCA social, which was a lot of fun. It was good to see everybody there. That seemed very well attended. We've had one-on-one meetings with Dr. Williams, music department meeting, and then the Fog Fest parade for all the teachers and staff where the grand marches. I was working with the Fog Fest, but I got to love it.
I've been meeting with the superintendent weekly, and then also Linda and I and the superintendent took our meeting to Lovey's Tea, which was it's different, instead of being in the office. And then I also attended the Fog Fest parade, and I heard on several occasions, we love our teachers. And that was coming from parents and kids along the route. That's all I have.
I attended the Fog Fest and it was awesome. And we also are very thrilled that the district was chosen as the Grand Marshal. I too heard great feedback around our amazing instructors and staff. Both were excited and also we felt like celebrities. And I guess we are kind of local celebrities, but it was really a warm community feeling. I attended the LSEA, CSEA social, which was great, and also a way for us to continue to expand our relationship with our labor partners. In addition to, we attended the IBB bargaining training together, which was co-facilitated by our team as well as a member of CTA. Also continuing school visits, had an opportunity to co-facilitate the superintendent budget collaborative, where we have many decisions to make and we had many resources to discuss, and also staffing among those resources and topics. We did discuss staffing to enrollment. Also had an opportunity to address some of the concerns regarding AYSO and the field at Ortega, and also had an opportunity to clarify the misunderstanding that on this past Saturday, the gate was actually inoperable. And so it wasn't that the district did not want to or did not welcome community members' usage of the field. It was that the gate was actually inoperable and we have it fixed now, and we were able to speak to the leaders of AYSO. And so we did correct that misunderstanding and expressed how we do welcome all of our community partners to have access to the field. And then also met with the Student Advisory Committee and had an awesome time as they had recommendations, which they presented this evening, and just thrilled to have an amazing team this year, just as last year. And so a lot of good things happening around the district. That's my report.
Right, thank you. Okay, moving on, we're on to information items. A, the big lift and next steps, Dr. Carissa Bowman.
No offense. No offense. No offense. I hope to see you soon though.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent. So glad to see you all here and the student comments, and I'll be touching base with some of you about PE equipment, and I heard also about accelerated learning, so I'm really glad that you're here and looking forward to working with you through the superintendent. So teaching and learning today, we're going to give you an update on the big lift and where we are now. The mission, sorry, I can't see it from here. Next slide, please.
It's over there too.
Oh, this is so hard to hold. I'm just kidding. So just a quick review. You see it here on the wall, over there. All of the things that we're working on through curriculum, instruction, and looking at resources is connected to ACE. It's also connected to our profile learner. We're looking at our mission statement, and so really working to be cohesive and aligned. And you'll see that the beginning of the presentations, but the principals, teachers, presentations, they're also seeing this so that we build a cohesive message. So the outcomes for this presentation give you a idea, clarification on the big lift grants, also looking into the science of reading and the connection to our instructional shifts, and the connection between the funding of the big lift grant and the educational impact. It's my first day doing this, so. So why do we need the big lift and what is it? It is an initiative through San Mateo County that we are looking at improving reading for TK to our third graders. The San Mateo County, although one of the most affluent in California, still has a low reading rate. We don't, with it's reported that kids are not learning based on the literacy gaps and the tools that they need to learn to read, and then giving them quality early education and literacy programming. So when we look at the big lift, I mentioned 50% of San Mateo third graders are not reading at a proficient level. There are early struggles for literacy, and then we also know that the gaps exist with our population within the subgroups, and we're really looking at closing that gap. And it's also the process through the Big Lift grant. Why does Pacifica School need it? The overall score here on the side, we are in the yellow, and we know that 50% of our students are meeting standards. However, that also means that 50% of our students are not meeting standards. On the side here, the red area where we really need to help our kids get to another level, the area that we're seeing kids in red in that population are students that are homeless and then students with disability. We still have concerns with the kids who are in the orange level. They are Pacifica's English language learners and our Hispanic students. Our students that are in the yellow, you'll see, are social and economically disadvantaged. And that's a state terminology, Filipino. And then the good news is our Asian students, our white students, 2 or more races are in the green level. But we need to work on getting all of our students up to that same proficient level. Just a quick overview. Not only do we look at that orange and red, but when we look at our students who are unhoused, they are 138 points below the standard. Our kids with disabilities are 116 points. English learners, 55 points. And you'll see that these are very large gaps. We can absolutely get our students where we need to be. And one of the tools that we'll be using is the Big Lift grant. We're going to talk to you about DIBELS, and DIBELS is an assessment. And so I wanted to make sure that the connection was there. So DIBELS is one of the assessments that is required by the Big Lift grant. You may have heard teachers talking about it. Our students in K through 3rd grade have been given the DIBELS for this first round. And then that is going to continue during the middle of the school year and then at the end of the school year. And we are working on making sure these DIBELS scores are used to plan instruction, making data-driven decisions, and making sure that our parents understand what's DIBELS and what's a DIBELS score. And so we'll be sending home resources for the parents as well. Overall, what it's looking at, it's an assessment that's looking at foundational skills, beginning at that kindergarten level, and it looks at key literacy skills, phonics, language acquisition, fluency. We are training our teachers to give these tests, but also, I feel more importantly, we're training the teachers on how to use the information that they are receiving from the test. So we've had 4 remote professional development sections. You'll see the dates there. So approximately right now, we have trained 50 of our K through 3rd grade teachers. And we have made sure that we've been inclusive, and our SDC teachers and our RSP teachers have also been trained, because this is a tool for all of our students and all of our teachers. The professional development, just a quick overview, it gives us the information that has a specific focus, and that is early literacy skills. And we'll be building upon that. The good thing with DIBELS, it has many different test screeners that we can add and remove. And so it can be very fluid for what the school district needs. Here are just the completion rates. So this is for the entire district. For kindergarten, 96% of our students have been tested at this point. Grade 1, 98, 2nd grade, 98. 3rd grade, a little bit lower, but they also have another round of assessment coming this week. And so we plan to see that number decrease. and mention that we'll be doing this at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. And this is the testing windows for benchmarks and also for dibbles. But I want to reiterate that this also has progress monitoring. We don't want to do a test in the beginning and be done with it. We don't do it in the middle and be done with it. So throughout these testing windows, we will be collecting data. Teachers will be collecting data. Progress monitoring, meaning checking how our kids are doing through between these tests. And that will happen throughout the year in between all of these windows. Just to give you a quick visual, if you're in the red area, you're well below benchmark, yellow, at benchmark, and above. Very similar to the scores that we saw earlier. This is also the benchmark, Dibble's benchmark explanation. So here is the benchmark scores for kindergarten throughout the district. And if you see the red area, these are the kids who need the most structured and coherent structured reading literacy program. It varies between the schools. The green and yellow, these are yellow kids are on that cuff of meeting standards. And then happily able to view that we have several students that are in the blue area that are for kindergarten. Here's also that data for grade 1. And just with a quick visual, like Valimar, we love to see that there's very low red. Sunset Ridge, we see there's more red, and there's much more data behind more red. But and so we know that this information is important because we know where to put our resources, our funding, and professional development. Similar chart for grade 2. Red area, we take a quick look at. We know that there's some areas in grade 2 that we need, in some schools that we need to provide resources, professional development. And then when you look at grade 3, you also get a similar picture. One of the reasons why we break it down by schools, so that we can address that individual school area. But if we have more kids at one school or less kids at another school, we can also manage our resources so that we're being efficient with the resources and funding that we have. So what's next for Pacifica with the Big Lift grant? You may have heard through teachers or through cabinet or Dr. Williams, we're using the science of reading. The science of reading isn't a curriculum, it's not a methodology, it's not a pedagogy, it's not a fits one all approach. When you hear the word science of reading, it is a large area of research, over 95,000 different research studies who have picked out the best way, according to research and practices, to demonstrate and use science of reading. Sometimes you hear science of reading, like they'll say we have science of reading. We all have science of reading, it's the research, but we want to make sure that science of reading and research is within our programming. And why do we need to do that? This is, I'm not gonna give you a lecture on the brain, but I just want to point out, like in the frontal lobe, part of reading is speech sounds. Temporal lobe is language comprehension. Another area, letter recognition. Another area is word analysis. So when you're doing reading, the reading brain uses every aspect of the brain. The thing that we know is that not all kids learn to read at the same pace. And so if you look below, the students 10 to 15%, there are kids that may have dyslexia. But I want to emphasize dyslexia doesn't necessarily mean that you are a special ed student. It may that you're having difficulty learning to read. And you have that 40 to 50%, which is the majority of our students who need that structured reading. It's essential for them to get it, to access all the parts of their brain, and to be able to learn to read. 35–40% of our students will learn to read because that it's just a natural ability, an easier ability for them. The structured literacy isn't essential, but it is absolutely going to give them advantage if they are in the programming. And so why I pointed out the brain and that percentage, speaking is something that we learn naturally. When we talk about reading, it is not something we learn naturally. 95% of our students can be taught to read, and it's important because we can make our brains respond to the stimuli to learn to read. So when we're talking about learning to read, a student may need to repeat it one time and it builds that pathway and they learn to read. Another student may need to do it 386 times and it builds that pathway to learn to read. It doesn't mean that there's a disability. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the student that needs it 386 times. It just means that the brain is taking longer to develop that pathway for reading. And that's important because if you're going to learn to read and be successful, you have to be able to decode and you have to be able to use language comprehension. And then that will give you reading comprehension, what our kids need, not only between TK 3, but throughout their schooling. Same information, you'll see that you have the language comprehension, you have the decoding. There are two parts that connect, and that's how kids learn to read. If you have really good decoding skills, but not very good language comprehension skills, you're still not reading at the level that you need to be, or vice versa. And so what is that structured literacy approach? It's very explicit, it's very systematic. Sometimes the programs are scripted, and it is that sounds, A, apple, ah, and going through to learn in that very beginning stage. What structured literacy also does is it's broken down into smaller parts. It is clearly stated to the students, like every goal, like every kid's going to know what they're going to do for structured literacy or that literacy component. And then they are able to learn throughout that process. And so these are the parts of learning to read that every kid needs. So you're going to get phonemic awareness. Then you'll start to get spelling. Then you'll move to blending. And so this talks about those 5 lesson sequences for learning the phonics approach and moving up to comprehension. And so with that being said, I'm not going to show you the whole video, but if I could just show you a small part of a clip of the video. This is a demonstration of a structured reading, a structured literacy program or reading approach. Could I do that from here? The video.
It's a PDF, so if you send me the actual.
So we'll just make sure that you get the video. It's an example of a structured literacy program. Because sometimes I know with words and all of that, it may not make sense, but seeing it in action may be helpful. And questions, comments, thoughts, or more information on anything?
Dr. Bowman, I wanted to thank you for the excellent presentation. I just want to also have the opportunity to share that we are working with our principals, as they all will be, replicating this presentation from their training with their staff across the district. So this is not information that we're keeping to ourselves or just to a few folk in the district. It's part of our efforts in order to expand literacy, understanding, training, and quality instruction across Pacifica School District.
Absolutely. And I'm following Dr. Williams' lead. So our principals received some of it yesterday on November 1st. Between now and November 1st, the principals will do a brief introduction. And then on the professional development day on November 1st, they're going to get even more information and more detailed information about the science of reading, because that's needed for us to improve our literacy skills. Thank you for reminding me.
First of all, thank you so much. It's very clear and easy to understand. And I think I've learned some things today, so thank you.
Yeah.
I did have one question just about the training of the teachers. It said you're up to 50. I'm not actually exactly sure what our count is on K-3 teachers, but I'm just curious.
We're only missing one teacher.
Oh, okay, great. All right.
Yeah, one
Excellent.
teacher.
All right.
And that they're not available for training right now, leave. And so as soon as they come back, we'll have them trained as well.
Well, excellent, perfect. And this is something I've always felt like if we really focused on K-3, that can fix a lot of our problems. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yep. Just thank you for the very good presentation.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
My question is, maybe for you too. If we have RTI, I know we have it at some schools, but do we have it at all of our schools?
So I believe there are still openings for the RTI teacher. However, the science of reading is every teacher's responsibility. On November 1st, the PE, music, art, our elective area teachers, they're also going to get a presentation on the science of reading because ultimately we're all reading teachers, but it will be modified and it will be adapted to what they need in that classroom. And so there is a K3 session that will be happening because reading looks a little different through 4-6, which will be happening, or 4-5, and then middle school. And special ed teachers, PE teachers, everybody is involved and it will be adapted to what their classroom or grade level is.
It's okay.
Oh,
We're okay.
I think we're good. Good, all right.
Okay. Oh,
My last question is, there any way that the librarians can help the classrooms with this?
Absolutely. So I currently am working with the library media specialist. It's a fabulous group of individuals. We have met 3 times already, and they've been very helpful, not only in the science of reading, but we're getting more information out to families about community events. We're also doing read alouds, which are throughout our library staff and then throughout the school. And we also have a partnership that with our public libraries, and they come to our meetings every month. And San Mateo County's been there every month. So the initiatives are district-wide, and they will definitely be helping with the science of reading, but they've taken even more roles than just the traditional librarian role. So they've been a really great partner this year.
Great. Does anybody have any questions or comments? And thank you for the presentation. It was.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so we are moving on to the first read updated 0000 to the thousands policies, CSBA October 2023 update. Dr. Williams.
good evening, Board of Trustees. Again, it's a pleasure to come before you with our first reading summary of the 000, 2000s, and 9000 bylaw policy updates as of October 2023. This evening, I will be presenting the updated revisions for BP 0410, non-discrimination in district programs and activities. The update includes, it reflects the new law, Assembly Bill 1078, 2023, which requires that the district policy prohibiting discrimination, harassment, intimidation, and bullying include a statement that the policy applies to all acts of the governing board and superintendent in enacting policies and procedures that govern the district. It clarifies when it is unlawful discrimination for the board to refuse to approve the use or prohibit the use of any textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, or other curriculum for classroom instruction, or any book or resource in a school library. Also to include the requirement of the California Department of Education to develop by July 1st, 2025, guidance and public educational materials to ensure that all Californians can access information about educational law. In addition, the policy is also updated to reference the new U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights Guidance document, which provides that a district may not separate students based on race, but may include group discussion or activities that focus on race as part of the curriculum, course, or program, so long as access or participation is not permitted or limited based on race. In addition, a school-sponsored program with emphasis on race such as a student club that is open to all students, typically would not violate Title IX solely because of its race-related theme. And then number 3, a district's responsibility to not discriminate against students applies to any of its programs or activities, whether directly or through contractual or other arrangements. Additionally, the update includes that the policy is expanded to a list of characteristics for which discrimination is prohibited in order to more closely align with the law and to reflect Senate Bill 523, 2022, which includes reproductive health decision-making as a characteristic for which employees, job applicants, unpaid interns, and volunteers are protected against unlawful discrimination and harassment. Moving forward, the following update for board policy 1312.2 will consist of the AR and also the exhibits. This policy is updated to reflect the new law, AB 1078 from 2023, which requires the California Department of Education, CDE, to develop by July 1, 2025, guidance and public educational materials to ensure that all Californians can access information about educational laws and policies that safeguard the right to an accurate and inclusive curriculum. 2, it clarifies when it is unlawful discrimination for a governing board to refuse to approve the use or prohibit the use of any textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, or other curriculum for classroom instruction, or any book or resource in the school library. Additionally, it provides that complaints alleging discrimination related to the use or prohibited use of any textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, or other curriculum for classroom instruction, or any book or resource in a school library may be brought under the district's uniform complaint procedures or may directly be filed with the superintendent of public instruction as specified. And finally, it requires the CDE to issue by July 1, 2025, guidance regarding how to review instructional materials to ensure that they represent diverse perspectives and are culturally relevant. Moving on to the updates to board policy 1312.3, which will include the updates for the board policy as well as the AR. Board policy 1312.3 plus AR. The policies are updated to ensure compliance with the California Department of Education 2324 federal program monitoring instruments and reflect the new law, AB 1078, which clarifies when it is unlawful discrimination for a governing board to refuse to approve the use or prohibit the use of any textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, or other curriculum for classroom instruction. It provides that complaints alleging discrimination related to the use or prohibited use of any textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, or other curriculum for classroom instruction, or any resource in the school library may be brought under the district's uniform complaint procedure, which is different from the board policy prior to, and may be directly filed with the superintendent of public instruction as specified. It also requires the CDE to develop again by July 1st, 2025, guidance and public educational materials to ensure that all Californians can access information about educational laws and policies that safeguard the right to an accurate and inclusive curriculum. Policy has also been updated to reflect that California Department of Fair Employment and Housing is now called the California Civil Rights Department. Moving on to the update for AR 1312.3, the Uniform Complaint Procedures. This regulation has been updated to reference new law, AB 1078, 2023, clarifies when it's unlawful discrimination for the governing board to refuse to approve and to use or prohibit any use of a textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, or other curriculum for classroom instruction or any book or resource in the school library. Also, again, provides that complaints alleging discrimination related on the use or prohibited use of any textbook, instructional material, supplemental instructional material, or other curriculum for classroom instruction or any book or resource in a school library may be brought under the district's uniform complaint procedure. And 3, requires the California Department of Education to develop by July 1st, 2025, guidance and public educational materials to ensure that all Californians can access information about the educational laws and policies. The regulation also updated to ensure compliance with the CDE's 2023-2024 Federal Program Monitoring Instrument. Moving on to the AR Regulation 1312.4, Williams Uniform Complaint Procedure. This will also include the exhibit for Williams Uniform Complaint Procedures, as well as the AR, the regulation. This regulation has been updated in addition to the exhibits to reflect the new law, AB 1078, which requires the California Department of Education to develop by July 1st, 2025, guidance and public educational materials to ensure that all Californians can access information about educational laws and policies that safeguard the right to accurate and inclusive curriculum. It provides that complaints related to instructional materials alleging that more than one student does not have sufficient textbooks or instructional materials as the result of an act by the governing board or the board's failure to remedy the deficiency may be filed with the superintendent of public instruction directly. And the superintendent of public instruction may directly intervene without waiting for an investigation. Finally, it requires the CDE, upon a finding that a district has not provided sufficient textbooks and instructional materials, to take all remedial actions required by law, including purchasing textbooks and instructional materials and assessing a financial penalty against the district's local control funding formula. Finally, the new law, SB 760, year 223, which authorizes districts to temporarily close a restroom for a documented student safety concern and immediate threat to student safety or to repair the facility. For exhibit 1312.4, it has been updated to reference the new law, SB 760, 2023, which authorizes districts to temporarily close the restroom to document student safety concern and immediate threat to student safety or to repair the facility. The new law, SB 114, 2023, which requires the Williams Uniform Complaint Procedure to be used to address a complaint related to teacher misassignment that claims that a teacher who lacks credentials or training to teach English learners is assigned to teach a class with one or more English learners in the class, formerly with more than 20% English learners in the class. Finally, Williams Uniform Complaint Procedures, Exhibit 2, updated to reflect the law, SB 114, which requires that the Williams Uniform Complaint Procedure be used to address a complaint related to teacher misassignment that claims that a teacher who lacks credentials or training to teach English learners is assigned to teach a class with one or more English learners in class, formerly with more than 20% English learners in the class, and the new SB 760 of 2023, which authorizes districts to temporarily close a restroom for a documented student safety concern and immediate threat to student safety or to repair the facility. Exhibit also updated to reflect new law, AB 1078 of 2023, which provides that complaints related to instructional materials alleging that more than one student does not have sufficient textbooks or instructional materials as a result of an act by the governing board or the board's failure to remedy the deficiency may be filed with the superintendent of public instruction directly. Therein lies the first reading of the updates for the following policies from 0000, 2000 to 9000. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More to come.
Okay, so we're moving on to the action items, number 12. A resolution 2024-1009A. Authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds. It is recommended that the board approve resolution. Am I supposed to read that word? Resolution number 2024-1009. Sorry. That seems fine.
Good evening, Board President Villalobos, members of the board, the Superintendent Williams. Thank you for this opportunity. Before you, we have an action item. Action item is a resolution. Resolution, as the President had mentioned, is 2024-10-9A, which authorizes the sale and issuance of general obligation bonds. And as you are all aware, we have Measure O bonds, as well as our most new Measure G bonds. Tonight we have a guest here. Her name is Laura Herrera. She represents Oric et al. With LLP, and Oric is our bond counsel partner. I'd like to invite her up to give you a little more information regarding the process.
Thank you, and good evening, President, members of the board, Superintendent. Lauren Herrera from Oric, Harrington, and Sutcliffe. We serve as bond and disclosure counsel to the district. The resolution before you accomplishes a few different things. The first is to authorize the issuance of bonds under both Measure O and Measure G. It also sets out a number of issuance parameters. So part of that is a not to exceed amount of bonds under Measure O, and a separate not to exceed issuance amount under Measure G. It also restricts the maximum interest rate, the maximum true interest cost, the maximum amount that your underwriting bank who's going to sell the bonds to the investor community can be paid, and otherwise sets out other statutory obligations. Term of the bonds cannot exceed 30 years, things like that. The second thing that's accomplished by this is that it introduces the forms of other contracts and agreements that the district will be entering into that helps it accomplish the sale of the bonds. And so those forms of agreements are the paying agent agreement, which shows how the money will flow to a third-party trustee bank and then be transferred to the county's building fund and debt repayment fund. You have the bond purchase agreement that governs the sale from you to the underwriting bank, who will then again parcel those out to investors. There's the preliminary form of the official statement that acts very much like a prospectus. So it's used by the underwriters to market the bonds to prospective investors, and it includes a great deal of information about the district's financial and operating information, as well as some information about the demographic tax base within the district, since district taxpayers, the assessment of property taxes is what's used to repay the bonds. And then finally, included within the form of official statement is also a form of continuing disclosure certificate. And that just outlines the district's responsibilities to provide annual updates to the investor market through the form of an annual report that includes the annual audit and some updates about the demographic tax base. And then if any material events such as a rating change, restructuring of the debt were to occur, you would also alert the market about those. So again, those documents are also included within your board packet. They are in substantially final form. There's a couple brackets and blanks throughout. And those reflect final pricing information. So on the day that these are finally put out to market and investors place their orders for the bonds, we'll have final information about the interest rates that are set, the final maturity, and all of that. And at that time, we can finalize those forms of documents with that information. And then the third and final thing that's accomplished by the resolution is to delegate to specific members of the district staff, including the superintendent and assistant superintendent, the ability to agree to the terms of purchase of the bonds and to finalize and sign the documents in coordination with the financing team that supports the district, including bond counsel and your municipal advisor, as well as the underwriting bank. So I know I kind of moved through all of that very quickly. I'll pause here and see if anyone has any questions. Happy to answer anything. Does anybody have questions? No? No. Welcome back.
And with that being said, it is recommended to the board that we authorize the resolution 2024-10-9A.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Right, we are moving on to number 3. Resolution number 2024-10-9B, Week of the School Administrator. Dr. Torres.
Good evening, Board President Villalobos, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Dr. Williams. Tonight, we would like to bring forth Resolution 2024-10-09B to honor district school administrators during the week of the school administrator, October 13th through 19th, 2024. Per Ed Code 44015.1, in observance of the importance of educational leadership at the school district, and county levels, the second full week in the month of October of each year shall be designated as Week of the School Administrator. Schools, school districts, and county superintendents of schools are encouraged to observe the week with public recognition of the contribution that school administrators make to their schools and community. Research has repeatedly shown that quality school leadership is essential to student success. These leaders, in turn, are supported by a network of dedicated professionals, including special education and general education leaders, classified educational leaders, among many others. The importance of effective school leadership and district office leaders is essential. And in the Pacifica School District, we see evidence of such great administrative leadership. We would like to invite the Board of Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Williams, and Cabinet to take turns reading through the resolution.
Okay. Resolution 2024-10-9B, Week of the School Administrator. Whereas leadership matters for the Pacifica School District and the students we serve every day. The strong leadership, resilience, flexibility, problem solving, and hard work of the administrators supports the ongoing learning of all students and staff. And
whereas the title school administrator is a broad term used to define many education leadership posts, superintendents, assistant superintendents, directors, principals, assistant principals, special education leaders, school business officials, classified educational leaders, including food service, bond, facilities, and instructional technology directors. And
whereas school administrators are flexible, compassionate, patient, resilient, positive, and encouraging lifelong learners who embrace a growth mindset and who believe in the value of equitable, quality public education. And
whereas school administrators have reimagined their roles to meet the post-pandemic challenges by working alongside their staffs to support students and families by focusing on our pillars of student attendance, academic excellence, community engagement, and equity and inclusion. And
whereas administrators are lead learners who work hard to stay focused on achieving our 3 local accountability plan goals, where we strive to ensure that all students will have access to rigorous and engaging instruction provided by highly qualified teachers and supported by highly effective leadership with appropriate resources, where we strive to ensure that we will increase achievement for all our students while decreasing performance gaps and educational inequities, and where we strive to ensure that we will significantly increase family and community engagement to inspire and support them to be actively involved in preparing their students to be college and career ready and to reduce chronic absenteeism. And
Whereas school administrators understand the importance of family engagement in a student's success and partner with teachers to provide parent support and serve on a wide variety of district committees. And
whereas school leaders, teams with parents, volunteers, community partners, and staff to meet the needs of our students and families and promote ongoing student achievement and school success, serving as an example of public service and pride in our community as together we work towards our preparing our students for an evolving world. And
whereas most school leaders began their careers as teachers, with the average educational leader serving in public education for more than a decade. Most California superintendents have served in education for more than 20 years. Such experience is beneficial in their work to effectively and effectively lead public education and improve student achievement. And
Whereas research shows great schools are led by great principals and great districts are led by great superintendents. These site leaders are supported by extensive administrative networks throughout the county and state. And
whereas the state of California has declared the week of October 13th through the 19th, 2024 as Week of the School Administrator per Education Code 44015.1, and
whereas the future of California's public education system and the more than 6 million students it serves depends upon the quality of its leadership. Now, therefore,
Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees strongly encourages all members of the district community to join us in personally expressing appreciation to our school leaders for their dedication and commitment to students, families, and staff of the Pacifica School District. Passed and adopted on this day, the 9th day of October.
therefore, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve Resolution 2024-1009B to honor district school administrators during the week of the school administrator, October 13th through 19th, 2024.
so this is an action item.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-1009-3.
Second,
Yeah. Motion passes 4-0.
all right.
Thank you.
I would just like to say too, thank you very much. When you think about everything that happens, it's pretty amazing. So thank you.
good evening once again, Board of Trustees. I am before you to remind us all and to highlight that Pacifica School District recognizes the second Monday of October as Indigenous Peoples' Day. I invite all the trustees, in addition to myself, the cabinet, and our student representatives, to join in and read the resolution for Indigenous Peoples' Day.
You want me to start? Okay.
Please follow along.
Resolution number 2024-1009C, Indigenous Peoples' Day. Whereas Pacifica School District recognizes Pacifica is built on the homelands of the Ramaytush Ohlone, and today's members of the Arapaho, Choctaw, Yankton, Cherokee, San Carlos Apache, Ponca Omaha, and many other tribal members live in Pacifica. And
whereas the idea of Indigenous Peoples' Day was first proposed in 1977 by a delegation of Native nations to the United Nations sponsored International Conference on Discrimination Against Indigenous Populations in the Americas. And
whereas in an effort to reveal a more accurate historical record of the discovery of the United States of America, representatives from 120 indigenous nations at the First Continental Conference on 500 Years of Indian Resistance unanimously passed a resolution to transform Columbus Day into an occasion to recognize the contributions of indigenous people despite enormous efforts against the Native nation. And
whereas Indigenous Peoples' Day is a holiday celebrated on the second Monday of October in the United States. Indigenous Peoples' Day at its core, aims to celebrate and honor the past, present, and future of Native peoples throughout the United States and acknowledge the legacy of colonialism, which has devastated indigenous communities historically and continues to negatively impact them today. More importantly, however, Indigenous Peoples Day moves beyond the narrative of oppression and honors the histories, cultures, contributions, and resilience of contemporary Native peoples. And
Whereas there are over 570 Native nations in the US and 6.8 million Americans identify as Native American, about 2% of the country's total population. Yet representation for Native peoples, especially contemporary Native peoples, is seriously lacking, and Native communities still experience a legacy of discrimination as a result. And
whereas Pacifica School District recognizes American Indian peoples and their accomplishments and contributions past and present, such as Chief Standing Bear, Volca, who argued and won in 1879 in the U.S. District Court of Omaha that American Indians were human beings. Shanice Davis and Deb Holland, the first American Indian women elected to Congress in 2019. Ms. Holland currently serving as the 54th United States Secretary of the Interior. No Mascots Policy Advocate Susan Schoen Harrell, who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2014. Sterling Harrell and Taki Watiti, creators of the first television series, Reservation Dogs, with an Indigenous regular cast, writers and directors, and
Whereas Pacifica School District recognizes the facts that American Indian youth ages 10 to 24 have the highest suicide rate compared to any other group. And 84% of American Indian girls and women experience a form of violence and abuse, murdered and missing Indigenous women in their lifetime. And
whereas the children of Pacifica School District deserve a well-balanced education that includes the history of American Indian genocide, the struggles and accomplishment of Native American peoples, and deserve to not be taught things that are outdated and seen by contemporary thinkers as mythology. And
whereas Pacifica School District is committed to improving the suspension rates of American Indian children in our schools, Pacifica School District will seek to find alternatives for positive solutions and remedies to nurture the social emotional impact of learning our American Indian youth in the district. And
whereas countless movements around the world and in the US at the present time by Native people to protect land, fight against climate destroying projects, and build viable cultural systems. However, Columbus Day remains a widely celebrated holiday in the US that glorifies a false narrative of America's founding and erases the genocide of Native peoples. And
therefore, be it resolved that in October 2024, Indigenous Peoples' Day is a holiday where employees and students are scored by not attending school. The Pacifica School District provides resources to teachers and training on appropriate ways to think about the history, struggles, and accomplishments of Native peoples.
And so on this evening, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve Resolution 2024-10-09-C to honor Indigenous Peoples' Day.
So this is an action item. Is there a motion? I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0.
Can I comment since this is an agenda item? You know how we're talking about like these are just words and they're really nice words, and as an American Indian they make me feel good and bad because you know genocide. I heard one of the student representatives mention the garbage on our campuses and maybe tying Indigenous Peoples' Day in with cleaning up our campuses and teaching stewardship would be something you might consider. She just mentioned it tonight. I was like, oh, wow, that's really good. And then I just wanted to clarify that we're working on curriculum
Yes,
to be introduced to the principals too about the Ramatouche.
yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes. we
So
are
then
working on
it would be all complete if we could do it.
Yes, we are working on it and we will be bringing forth that information to our principal study group and principals meeting.
And just thank you, everybody, on behalf of the Native people. It's, you know, when I was growing up, when I was your age, even now, you know, older members of the tribes will tell us this is still our land. And, you know, so it really wasn't that long ago, if you think about it, when everything happened. So thank you.
It is our honor and our privilege. Thank you. Thank you.
We're happy to have you on this.
Yep. All right, so now we are moving on to memorandum of understanding with the Magic Tooth Bus. Martha Rod. I didn't want to say school.
Good evening. I was hoping you'd get a little chuckle out of that. From the school bus to the tooth bus. The Magic Tooth Bus is a 501c3 corporation that provides dental screening to our younger students, TK through second grade. They received a grant, and so they've offered to do that screening for us for free. And not only will they do the screening, but they'll provide information to us so that we can inform families of next steps that they would have to take to help their student, and also provide resources where that dental care could take place. And in some cases, they would be able to provide that dental care. So, and this is our second year being able to do this for our students. So it's recommended that the board approve the MOU for the Magic Tooth Bus so that we can begin scheduling them coming to our schools.
We have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Magic Tooth Bus.
Thank you.
All right, and are there any Board of Trustees, Superintendent recaps or future agenda items? I might have one. You know, that we have an issue with of our funding. It's not equitable. We live in San Mateo County, where some of the schools receive a lot of money and Pacifica receives the least amount of money. So Ms. Burkini and myself would like to start investigating how we can see about advocating for more funding. And so if we could put that on the agenda for
Absolutely. Or
December?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be better.
Yeah, December.
That would be great. Anybody else have any recaps or?
Oh, I would like to thank the students. I just wanted to thank the students. You did a great job this evening, and thank you for being here. And hopefully it was exciting and you learned a lot of great things and generated a lot of ideas from your participation. And we look forward to your participation in future meetings. Thank you.
All right, and with that, we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:35.